Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's Achieved, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit of breaking news with weather report here. Saw a tweet today, weather report exposed by Dent in my head. So we clicked on it, and here he kind of states a whole spill about how he's the founding artist of Weather Report, and I'm just going to read it to you guys. Weather Report is a really sought after project that's coming pretty soon, and supposedly they're going to be telling the truth in about 4 minutes, so 3, so we can kind of hop in there and hear what they have to say. But let's just try and get into this until then. So my name is Denton, and I am the founding artist behind the NFT Weather Report. I envisioned and authored all of the original illustrations from conception to completion. The brain is based on and has been built from the artwork that I created. Current mood. This piece of art changed my life. I spent a decade obsessively focused on making art for the sake of making it, never putting anything out into the world for fear of being misunderstood and rejected. The day we announced at Weather Report NFT, I tweeted this picture, and everything changed. I was flooded with love and support. Fan art, murals, sculptures, video games, tattoos, collaborations, mayhem. The response was overwhelming. In the span of 1 week, I went from having my lifelong dream crystallize in the palm of my hand to having it crushed and stolen. That pain is indescribable. But this is not about my victimhood. I'm here to set the record straight. At Zach Goes Hard and at willnichols.eth blatantly misrepresented the truth. I'm the founding artist of Weather Report. No one guided my pen. No one went line by line telling me what to draw. When I joined the project, there was no artistic vision, no original concept for characters. There, just a logo. I took two people's vague idea for an NFT named Weather Report and created the artistic vision and final illustrations that built that project into what it has become. The co-founders cannot take that from me, no matter how hard they have tried to intentionally misrepresent my role in the creation of the project. In a moment, I will share several series of texts that empirically contradict the claims put out by the co-founders at Weather Report in the aftermath of my removal from the project. These texts will plainly show that 1, they did not direct me on what to draw. 2, they did not guide my pen. 3, I created all of the illustrations from the initial vision to the completed works. And 4, the co-founders watched from the sidelines, cheering the whole way, calling me a magician with the art and the GOAT. Setting the record straight. I want to make this perfectly clear. I did not choose to leave Weather Report. I wanted to remain. I was immediately removed from my project for asking to negotiate a more equitable agreement than a measly 5% share of the sale and royalties of my own art, while the other 2 co-founders hoarded a 50% split. We did not part amicably, as their statements suggested. We parted after a 30-minute phone call, yelling at each other, during which I was verbally threatened not to unleash the dragon, and told that they would move on without me by hiring someone to copy my work. Within just a few hours of kicking me off my own project, the other co-founders put out a statement in which they blatantly misrepresented my role in creating all the illustrations for the project, intentionally deceiving their own community by grossly rewriting the truth. It's 12:45, so let's just hop in that call and then we can kind of get back into this. All right, let's join this and see what happens here. All right, interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully that my audio is working, because I'm not too sure if it'll go, but we'll we'll definitely see here. A lot of people in here, that's for sure. If you guys want to, you guys can follow my Twitter at achieved right here while we're waiting. You know what I mean? I don't know if people are talking because these emojis are kind of he must be waiting for people to kind of pour in here to try and just see. Yeah, if that's right, that 5% share of the sale and royalties of my own art, that's a pretty big deal there, because that's not a big cut at all. Okay, here we go.
Thanks for filtering in. Excited to get to talk to all of you. Just give us a few minutes here while we set up the room and get the team and everyone all up on stage. So just hang with us. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll wait. So in the meantime, let's just read a little bit more of this. Part after 30-minute phone call. Here's a highlighted section from the statement that co-founders at Weather Report put out just moments after they kicked me off of the project. We met Denton through a mutual friend a little less than 2 weeks ago and began hopping on Zoom sessions with him, passionately explaining our vision and sharing all of the visual references and inspiration that we had been compiling over the past months. We discussed every specific detail, the shape of the head, the shape of the eyes, how we could portray weather in multiple ways and utilize non-weather centric items such as crayons and heartbreak to focus on unique traits that would resonate deeper with the community, incorporating relevant fashion items like bucket hats, trucker hats, and the iconic Storm Text jacket.
Again, just
Oh, I muted it.
here while we get everyone on stage and we can chat this all through. So apologize for the dead airspace for a few minutes, but we're just gonna get everything correct.
No problem, Weather Report. We appreciate you. Thank you. No problem. No problem. So we created Pinterest boards and Miro documents for him to reference all of our ideas. Throughout this time, Zach and Will sat with him on numerous Zoom calls, many times through wee hours of the night, collaborating on how our traits and ideas were being executed. Every detail from line thickness to color palettes to shadows and highlights, as well as sizes and shapes, were thoroughly discussed and adjusted to stay true to our creative direction. Although we initially set out to simply hire someone to help draw our vision for a one-time fee, we decided to be generous and offer a small equity stake in the primary sale and secondary royalties of our project in hopes of finding a long-term partner. Next, I will share the first series. I'm trying to speak a little quicker in case something happens, but next I will share the first series of texts that chronicle when I independently came up with the vision that laid the foundation for the art that became known as Weather Report. These texts directly refute many of the claims made in the statement above. I sent the following sketches and messages while I was at my day job. I worked independently to bring my vision for the project to life, and much of this vision remains in the current art being put out today, most specifically the highlighted sections in number 3, number 4, and number 5. Also Also notice that at Zach Goes Hard's only input throughout these messages was praise and encouragement. At the end, he agrees that the vision I created would work well for the project. He's posting stuff like vision, good morning boys, the storm keeps raging on, blah blah blah. We could do a whole mid-level trait tier that has all these dope ass elemental head/hair traits. We then have entry-level traits, be hats and shit, but with the elemental ear component still showing. Also had a thought about how to layer traits. We had a lot of talk about trying to contain the elements on the head to fit within the hat space. But what if we have the element head traits be just another blah 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 blah. Love that new sketch, Zach says. Kind of just showing stuff. We also mess around with the flat plane too. So okay. Second, I want to address what @willnichols.eth stated publicly to the community in his response to the statement I put out after my removal from the project. In my statement, I expressed that I pour my heart and soul into my art. In his response, Will attempted to belittle my contributions to the project, claiming that they guided my pen every step of the way, line weight, color palette. Bro, why you acting like you had been working on this for years before? We guided your pen every step of the way, line weight, color palette, close the draw, Weather concepts to incorporate LOL. At Zach Goes Hard had to teach you hotkeys in Illustrator and named your Twitter at. Just want to make sure I'm not like.
People have been seeing things flying around on Twitter today. Anyone who has been part or involved in the project or been following the project knows that this was something that we dealt with in the first week of launching. We announced that
I don't know
we
how I
released
got
a
kicked.
statement then, and nothing has changed in the interim other than we've built out the rest of our project. And lo and behold, we're 6 days away from minting, and we're all talking about this now, which is fine and it's great. And it's important to be able to be open and honest with our community. We have been from the start, and we want to tell the story from our point of view, and get our story across to you guys. I would really love it if I just want to do sort of like a timeline quickly. We're going to go through sort of the inception from concept to creation to where we are now. And yeah, I would love it, Zach, if you could just sort of start from the beginning, really, with Weather Report, where it all started, sort of when, timings, and we'll just sort of we'll unfurl the story from there.
Totally. So July 2021, Will
That needs to be in
and a
here.
friend of ours, Ramsey,
I'm just
were
saying.
conceptualizing a hat brand. Um, in that first 2 days, going through probably like 500 names. And essentially, we wanted something that was highly message based. And we're kind of, baking out a concept for what the graphics for the hat would look like, but then coming back to figure out like what name best represents that. And the final
Okay.
name that we came up with that I suggested would be Weather Report. Um, as you guys know, you've probably heard me say this 50 times now in other spaces. The name really resonated with me because, like the weather, our emotions change, situations change, and we wanted something that was very parallel to real life scenarios and the thoughts and trials and tribulations we go through every single day, good or bad. So that's how the name essentially came to be. On that very first day, we were super hyped. Me being a graphic designer, jumped onto Illustrator instantly and baked out the logo that you all know today as the Weather Report logo, featuring the circle shaped head behind the text, with the smiley face eyes. From there, we really started kind of
I mean,
digging
that's
into
just a
like
smiley face, but
different inspo, moving from July into, I would say, September, kind of figuring out like, okay, what the hats look like, tech packing them out, eventually going to get some samples made. During that time, we were Will and I were highly, involved into the NFT community, and the hat brand kind of fizzled out. Discovering Web3 is like a massive life changing thing. As we all know, it absorbs a massive amount of our time, day and night.
yes.
Um,
Yes, it
from there,
does.
we kind of like let it chill, put it on the back burner. Coming into December, Will and I had tons of talks about starting our own PFP project and what it would look like, what we, envision basically our ethos, looking like in Web3 and what we could offer and bring to the space. We went through again a bunch of different ideas and names and came back to Weather Report. Yo, we already have this, we understand the why. Let's build on top of Weather Report. In December,
Okay.
far prior to ever meeting Denton, we were sending tons of references from World Industries to Spitfire, and all different kinds of you know I guess 90s nostalgic skate references. That style artwork. How do we portray weather as a character? Obviously, you have in World Industries Wet Willie and Flame Boy. There are these elemental orbs, a circle with elements on top of the head.
Okay.
Jumping forward into early January, probably like literally New Year's. We basically, how we were introduced to Denton was through my fiance's cousin, who went to college with him, and he
Word.
watched my dogs while I was out of town. So
That's
I come back,
that's
he
fire.
has this whole presentation. He's like, "Yo, I want to show you something. I know you're into the NFT space. Check this out." So basically, he had a concept for this NFT project that he was looking for help for, and he had some illustrations and
My
said,
boy
"Yo,
Keemstar's in the mix too. Look at this.
can you help me kind of take next steps here?" I said, 100% for sure. The art looks cool. I also have something that I'm working on. Do you think your boy would want to make some extra money on the side and help us kind of basically, illustrate our vision? Yeah, I think that's cool for sure. Hopped on a call. Denton agreed and was completely hyped. Sure, could use the extra money. Um, you know, Looking forward to you helping us with our project that had to do with basically dead musicians, a bunch of skeletons based on dead musicians.
Cool.
From there, I would say Weather Report really took the center stage. We're doing tons of Zoom calls till 3 a.m. in the morning. As you guys know, I talk about it all the time. I'm a workaholic. I didn't get home till 4 o'clock in the morning last night from the
Fire.
office. And
That's so cool.
I'm very hands on and very verbal. So immediately we just started kind of jumping into these Zoom calls. We basically brought Denton up to speed with what we wanted. We need a weather themed project. This is all the stuff that we have envisioned so far, and basically just started kind of conceptualizing, you know, how we're going to illustrate this. So some of the initial direction, the very first steps was like, we want elemental spheres that represent the elements of weather.
Okay.
You look at Wet Willie and Flameboy, the tops of the heads come to a point. Me knowing PFP projects, knew this wouldn't work with tons of head traits as far as hats. So I said, yo, let's cut off the point and not make it point come through, bursting through a hat or anything else
I
that
hope he has a
may
point
have the
here.
top of the head. Let's take the sphere and make it into this. The initial
And just for context, this is like early January, right? At this time, Toby and I had already had conversations about working together, not just on weather report, but overall management for my artistic career. And we brought Toby in and we're starting to talk about the idea in early December. And when Toby and I first started to talk, Toby and I had a meeting, and I laid out the three projects I had in front of me, and weather report was one of them that I would like to have him help me and what I have on my team already. So just for timeline, like Toby was part of what we were building when we came in. We just hadn't introduced and connected the dots between the artist and upper management at that point.
Right. So this is just a really big
totally.
artist
Um,
conflict here.
so basically, from there, we had tons and tons of Zoom calls. Um, the first the first set of concepts that Denton provided were completely atrocious. Didn't look anything like the character that we have now.
What are they
Every
trying to
single
get
head was like
get at
a
though?
completely different shape. There was like a tornado one that looked like
Let's
a
talk about the
honeycomb.
why. Let's talk about the
It
why,
was
huh?
all over the place. From there, Will and I hopped on. Hey, great first shot. This isn't the direction that we're going in. This is essentially how we need to freak this. And then even being hands on already, we became very much more hands on via these Zoom calls, which unfortunately I would say the majority of our
He needs to be
interaction
in here
was live
in this
time
call.
on Zoom, discussing things as the art was being created via our direction. From that point, I would say probably after about 5, 6 hours and hours of long Zoom calls, um, we basically, created the group chat and kind of brought him in, and we're having more text conversation. While Denton was at work, um, he would be sending us basically kind of reiterations of the stuff that we laid out conceptually the night before. So
Okay.
if you look at some of the text messages, a lot of that is reiterations of exactly what we want, what we told him that we wanted.
Okay.
Um,
What's your point?
if you're gonna hire a hired pen to illustrate something, one, it should be someone that you're hyped about. Two, you're gonna say supportive comments, as Will did, saying, "Yo, this is hot. This is cool.
Okay. What's your
Great."
point?
That's what am I gonna hire someone that says, that I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, no, this isn't cool. It doesn't work like that. And
Okay.
from there, we essentially baked out a handful of characters. We launched the Twitter, and this kid's never had a Twitter account. He doesn't have a MetaMask. He's never been on social media, and he instantly got a bunch of followers from Weather Report, and just
Okay.
immediately switched up. Started acting, kind of like haughty and ultra confident, and basically stating claims like, oh, none of this, all of basically everything that's happening is because of me. And he was a hired gun. We knew him
Yeah,
for
but there's still
a
that
week and a
artist
half, 2 weeks
conflict because
tops,
he's
from the
creating
time
the
of
vision,
first
right?
interacting with him until the time of parting ways. Keep in mind, this vision, even mock-ups of characters that look super similar to what we have as far as backgrounds, layout, size, type of expression. Um, we will have conversations sharing these ideas a month plus before we ever even cross paths with Denton.
and
He'd
that's and that's
never,
and that's via text, let alone Zach and I have been friends for over half a decade, and every time we do creative sessions, not every time but often, we
Right.
like to meet up in person and just hash it out in person. So we're coming up with mural boards. We're building out our illustrations and our ideas on paper, and building the mood boards in the direction to have the best illustrator, our favorite illustrators draw it. Like, we're not
Yeah.
drawers, we're not illustrators. That's why we have to have someone better than us to do it. Like
Right. You
Zach
have
was
to have
saying,
an artist
you
for the
know,
NFT project.
that was our intent. That was our thing. And like, going into this, like Zach saying, it was a higher gun, but we didn't want to have that Web 2 approach. Like, he did contribute, and we were building these things,
Right.
collaboratively.
collaboratively.
And and
Right.
and
Yeah. You got to bring
and
that up for sure.
what happened is, we could have gave him, or offered him a $5,000 to $10,000 fee, and chances are, he probably would have taken it.
Here we go, baby.
However,
The money.
we wanted him to have a seat at the table, because what we've been building is not just like,
Let's hear it. Let's hear the
we're
money
fully
talk.
doxxed. Like, this is our reputation. Like, for me, like, the people that are like, this is like something that's been building up. Like, my whole life has been built up to this point, I feel like. And
Okay.
Denton, like Zach was saying, we knew him for a 2-week window, and we worked on artwork together collaboratively, and we are not using it moving forward. Like, that's just simply it. And we offered him something that he didn't agree upon, and that was generous, where we could have just
Yeah,
offered him a
well,
flat fee.
he actually did agree upon it via phone call.
So
Oh yeah.
they're not
All
using the
all
art and
all of
then
the
took
terms were
that
discussed.
art
Every single member of the team
um
via an
to
email
somewhere
got
else,
some
pretty
time
much.
to
Like the
call
vision
and
that
essentially discuss
the first artist
what
created
we had
is what I'm
planned, and
getting.
make sure everyone was in agreement, which we were. And after that email, more artwork was created collaboratively and sent, and we moved forward. And as the followers
Interesting.
grew, he stopped doing work and started acting haughty, and doing basically drama queen stuff. And at that point, we essentially had the vibes of like, hey, this might not be the right person for the job. Radio silence. And
Radio
he
silence.
came out with a whole new position via email to us. And we tried to work it out over the phone, and he was honestly pretty delusional of his perspective of reality.
I would love to hear
We
that.
decided, hey, we
Hear
need
what it
to
was.
keep things pushing and go in a different direction. And essentially, the art that Will's stating that we're not using, almost half the basically all the traits that everyone was hitting with, we created these concepts. These
Concepts.
concepts are in
What does
text
that mean, though?
messages from July. Literally on the
Right.
conceptualization of the brand itself, I'm saying, hey, what about a laugh now, cry later, moon and sun, which you guys seen in the traits. So these are all ideas that we've been baking out,
Yeah.
and over since parting with Denton, the amount of ideas that we've baked out is insane. I would say probably
They just
25%
keep
of them
baking,
are
bro.
actually making it into the project.
Yeah.
We have a whole team of artists that we've known and actually worked with that are local, LA staples in
So
the
then
English
why didn't you just
industry
use them?
that are now helping us out with the project. And these people are passionate. They put in hours and hours and hours of time and effort and ideas.
Oh, I
And
see what's going on. But yeah, now I get
we
it. I
have
get it.
Kettering up here on the
Don't flame me
stage.
in the comments.
He
I
can
get it.
speak on that as well.
Yeah, I just quickly before we move to Sloan, I think the overarching anger here is people saying with the artists aren't being paid fairly,
Right.
represented for their
Okay.
work, and XYZ. And I think that we're very used to the beauty of the clone narrative, or in NFT stuff. Someone who's been working on a concept by themselves for 10 years, and this is their life's work, and they're now bringing
Right.
it to fruition. This is a very different project in the way that Will, Zach, and I had a very specific vision for how we wanted things to look, inspired by late 90s, early 2000s streetwear and skateboard culture, heavily influenced by that like nostalgia we feel from Willie and Flameboy and World Industries characters.
So that's why that
and
he
just
was
sort of
boxing
rebaking
in
this
those
this
designs that he was
concept
sending in the
into something
messages,
completely
because they
original.
look
And
identical
to
now
flesh out that
from the
that
other
concept, we were very
artists.
keen to hire an
So I guess
artist
that's why he was bringing that up.
who could then run a team of his own artists underneath Zach sitting above the creative director vision, moving down the tree sort of thing. And I say the way that we work now, like Zach tells like Zach says, okay, we need these traits to do. I want them to look like this, influence from this. There's a whole mirror board. There's whole other stuff, and then he comes to the artist we have now, Sloan, who bakes it out and then moves it onto our other
Baking.
artist, Justin, who goes into Vector. It's a whole process, and I think that people are very quick to be like, hey, like this is in like I see the facts presented before me, and this is incorrect, because it's not necessarily how they would do it, or they would run a team, or they're still
Right.
attached to the pegged idea that this is one person's piece of art. If it's anyone's piece of art, it's Zach's creative vision for this, and that's the overarching thing that I want to get underneath. We've hired and
Maybe.
paid
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 different artists inside of our own team, to help flush out these concepts underneath
Yeah,
Zach's
it's kind of hard
creative
that
direction.
that
So I
whole
want to sort of move away from the narrative that
creative
this person was ever
idea
hired to
attachment
be
to
the
the
sole
artist,
creator
like
or understanding of
collaboration
everybody's
there.
art. It was always hiring someone with an express extension to have a full team of artists working underneath them, like you would expect any high end artist to have in a factory, basically.
And a
And
factory.
I'd love to invite Sloan to speak now, because Sloan is our main artist who, since 2 days after we parted ways with Denton, has been working on every aspect, drawing out the concepts and creating the traits that you're seeing today. And yeah, Sloan, if you wouldn't mind just sort of like telling everyone your position
Don't
in
screw this up,
in
bro.
Weather Report, and how the creative process works
I'm
underneath
kidding.
Zach, and anything else you'd like to share. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll jump in here. Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Zach, Will, everybody, for being a part of the call today. Definitely not how I expected to wake up after I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning from pulling a long day. But we're here. We're here to discuss.
Amen,
A
brother.
little background about me. I've been tattooing for about 12 years now. I've known Zach for the past, I'd say, 7 to 8.
Word.
I'm done graphic design work for some different clothing brands, Pleasures, Moves in Silence, stuff like that. So I'm not what you would call a graphic designer by trade. I'm more of a tattoo artist.
Okay.
Zach kind of hit me up, let me know, what the vision was. '90s nostalgic skateboard decks were discussed. World
Mm-hmm.
Industries, Blind, Birdhouse, those really like early '90s, graphics with the little kids fighting and stuff like that. So I was already kind of looking at that artwork when I started kind of building my own traits. I don't know Denton. I've never spoken with them or anything like that.
Right.
But uh, I've been under Zach. We have a whole. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. We have a whole.
So it's pretty much just the
Discord we go
first
to
artist
that
kind of
do
getting salty now
NFTs
that
training.
everything's getting into
Every
fruition, and it
single
was his like original like
every single body, every single
drawings
expression, every single
ish.
idea
But then
basically
again,
that we have, we
the
put down on a
founders'
master sheet, and then we go check by check on that
thoughts.
master sheet and kind of
Yeah,
draw. And when I'm
we'll
drawing
talk
these
here in a minute.
ideas, I'm drawing everything on paper with pencil. I'm not taking and putting it onto a computer and tracing over clip art or doing anything like that. Like, these are all coming from my head out of my pencil onto paper. And I think that really is what's will show through in the finalized art, because even what's been shown is only previews of the stuff that we have cooking and what we're working on.
Everybody's
And I
cooking and
think
baking.
even when you see more of the stuff that's coming out and the stuff that we've been creating, like, there's no way you could ever say that there was a derivative from the original artwork or whatever like that, or what have you. The stuff that I have, I can literally post. We've already actually talked about it. Stacks and stacks of drawings.
The bottom line is, as well, is like, we're not using the 12 characters that he made, and most of those are concepts completely derived of the direction that we
Right.
gave him. But the bottom line is this: is that we have a PFP project. The vision was always to have a circle head. Look at the logo that was created almost a year before we ever met Denton. It's a circle. It has oval eyes.
I mean, that's like
There's
the
different
run-of-the-mill
logos.
smile,
We
but
have the concept of weather. That our project is weather based. The traits have deeper meanings of emotion. There's going to be hats and things on top of the head, as with any other PFP project. And this kid's claim to say that there's no vision, there's no direction. Like, dude, we met you 2 weeks before we parted ways with you.
excuse me.
You had a completely different project that I was 100% willing and glad to help with. And you don't own a circle. You never would have created
Right.
art based around weather without us bringing you in to help as a hired gun. And the bottom line is that we're moving forward with our original vision, which was based off of the things that we've stated: world industries, elemental things, weather, expression. And the bottom line is that everything that came from Denton was a complete collaborative effort. He never would have drawn any of these things without a direction. The first things that he drew weren't even circles, as we directed him to draw.
Mm.
And we have a strong vision. We have a strong team. Everyone's pouring their heart and soul into it. Will just got out of the damn hospital because he's completely overwhelmed with how much work and emotion and passion and time has gone into this project. And we're gonna keep pushing forward no matter what.
Yeah,
And
I just want to add in here, just like just from a human emotional connection standpoint.
Hmm.
Myself, Zach, and Will have been in this space for just well, over a year between all of us. Like, the people in this room have interacted with each one of us, I'm sure, at some point, whether that be through the Cool Cats Discord, whether that be in NFT NYC, whether that would be in Art Basel. We're not hiding
Right.
who we are and what we're about. And this is going to seem disjointed and emotional, because you know what? It's a disjointing, emotional time. This is our project
100%.
that we have, poured our life soul into. It is so stressful to launch something like this with the amount of eyes and hype on it. We addressed this exact issue that has resurfaced. The first the day that we parted ways with Denton. You can go into our Twitter account and you can see it. We posted a huge statement about it, and we've never tried to hide from it. It's
Right.
just, we're gonna come across a bit jittery and a bit, like here and there, because we're 5-6 days away from minting. This is all we've been doing, living and breathing for the last however many months, and it's
Mm.
painful. This is an emotional process. We care about the NFT space. Anyone who has met me, Will, or Zach in real life know how much we bleed for these things. We are doxxed. Our lives are out there. These are our full-time jobs.
Right.
This is what we want to do and deliver for people. And so, yeah, do you know what? I'm emotional and I'm sad about it. Because I don't want the great work that people like Sloan and Zach and Will and Justin and all these people in the Weather Report office, these hours that people have been putting in, to be, defaced 5 days before we go to launch something that's hopefully going to be the thing that changes all of our lives.
Right.
I just want to come from an
100%.
emotional standpoint. No one ever. I literally even said it yesterday on a space. I was like, no one wants to be in a space with 2,000 people listening with the pitchforks out. That's nothing that we ever wanted to be in this position. We've been open and honest with everything. We created a statement initially.
Yep.
And this is just, unfortunately categorized FUD to attempt to try and knock us down, and it's just not gonna work from mine, Zach, and Will's point of view. We are who we are. We're gonna continue being who we are. We have looked after everyone underneath our care as best as we can, and tried to deal with everything as honest and fairly and as transparently as possible.
Right.
And I really hope everyone can try and see that. We're just human beings here trying to make it all work and being as open as possible. And yeah, I appreciate people listening in and wanted to hear our story, but yeah, it's tough.
It's so frustrating. Like, we honestly tried to do the right thing, where it's like we
Right.
could have just handed this man a fee, and like we're like, "Ah, let's have him a full seat at the table, And it's like he felt like he deserved more but he felt like he deserved more with every Twitter follower that came. And like Zach said, he literally agreed upon what we offered him, and then literally like 4 days later, it's a whole switch up. It's a whole everything's different.
Yeah.
And he wants more and more and more, and it's like, dude, you didn't put any capital up. Like, this shit isn't cheap to put up capital for trademarks and artists and all this stuff. Like, we're the one putting all the risk. It's our vision,
Right.
and the funny thing is, we're literally just trying to do the right thing, and it just sucks, like, having your character be judged for literally just trying to do the right thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, it is what it is at this point, and I just want to move forward. Like, whatever happens afterwards, it is what it is. But I know our intent, I know our mission, and I know our purpose. So,
Right.
That's all.
Interesting.
Totally. And the reputation that we've built across many different verticals at the highest levels is completely based on our integrity, our work ethic, our ideas,
Right.
our passion.
Yeah, it's just
the bottom line is
pretty
the
much
vision
what I'm
for
getting
this
from it
project
is
has always been the
just a
same.
salty
Not
artist
once
that
have we said, "Hey, you know what? Let's
tries
rethink
to
who we are." We knew that we were going to do characters inspired by World Industries, Wet Willie, Flame Boy. We knew that it was based on weather. We knew that it was going to be an emotional self-expression based project. We knew that we were going to have tons of relevant fashion traits. We knew that we were going to collaborate with all of our homies.
where there's
We
an
knew
issue is
what we were going to do,
like
and we have a mission. We still have the
if
same
they didn't
mission,
have like original
and we're gonna keep
designs
moving forward just
of
as we
these
have,
prior
you know?
to running into the
Starting with
first artist,
readiness,
that they could
there's
run
things
into an
going on
issue
in the
with that
back end legally that
because they could have
you
just
know
been like,
may
oh, I
take
kind of
some
like this.
learning
Now let's
from,
just go
and
take this to some other
this
artists.
is a desperate public grasp and a manipulated, you know, expression of the truth. And the bottom line is that there's no way that we're walking away from everything that we've poured into this. Like, the community is insane. We engage with them every single day.
Cool story.
They know what's going on. We're
Right.
in the voice chat.
Yep.
We're working in the office and talking to them at the same time.
Yeah.
Even Sloan himself, he's in the voice chat all day long, drawing. The stack of drawings that this man has done in this short amount of time is honestly insane.
Yeah.
And you know, the vision is here.
Sloan, tell us your cut.
There's always going to be, you know, he said, she said, but I think at the end of the day, our reputations precede us, and we're going to still move forward to give you guys the best project that we can possibly create, because that's what we're doing, and the show goes on.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a conversation that people want to have about what it means to have an artist for hire, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that
you know that sort of can lead on to potential problems
right.
further on down the line. You know, at the end of the day, I do want to say, you know, I don't
Yeah, cuz
wish
that's
Denton any ill will. You know, like in Web3, everything is public, right? This is the most public forum that we could possibly have. You can see how much money people have in their wallet. You can see how they trade.
right.
You can see through everything, and what turns up is sort of, you know, an X-ray of the inside of companies as they're being built. You know, there are always in every company
Bullish on weather
disagreements
report
and
now?
people who move on and move on to different things, and those things are usually kept closed from the public in Web2 companies. In Web3 we do things differently, and you know what, it's a weird feeling to have all of these things put out on the internet, and to have people turn up and just listen in from all over the world. You know,
Mhm.
it's a crazy world that we live in. And it's a brave new one. I just you know, I'm just emotional because I've seen how much tireless work and effort is going into
Right.
this, and
Lots of effort.
I appreciate everyone in the community, everyone who's in that Discord every single day, everyone who's on Twitter. You know, this is not something we've come here to BS you about. You know, I
Right.
want to fall back on the fact on one of the reasons that people are excited about the project initially, which is the names that were attached to it. You know, we would never attach our public reputations. I'm not only is this my job, this is something I genuinely love to do. Like, I love being in NFT rooms. I love trading NFTs. I love talking to people about it. I can't stop
Yeah.
onboarding people. At no point would any of us, you know, want to ever try and, you know, be nefarious. I talk about it consistently. Anyone who's heard me on Spaces in this last week or over the last eight months, I say, you will have heard it 1,000 times. There's no reason to lie on the blockchain. There's no reason to be nefarious. It will be
100%.
found out. It will come out. There's no
Yep.
reason to lead that way. And so we never have, and we've been transparent from the start. We released a statement when this all happened, when we let Denton go, initially, that you can scroll back on our Twitter and find. And you know, the nuts and bolts of a company becoming public knowledge is tough, especially when it's like your emotional child, you know, and you've seen all the hard work that's gone into it. I know I'm rambling, but it's mainly just because I'm emotional, and I care about this project, and I care about the people who care about it. And so it's frustrating when something like this is targeted at a certain time to come out like this, to create fanfare, to reopen something that we made an official statement and put to bed weeks and weeks ago. It's made to be like this, and tailored to engineer you to be looking at it. And I just want everyone to know that the people who are on the stage, the founders of this project, care. And it's our whole livelihood. It's why we're up here now. It's why we all got together within 30 minutes to make this space, to tell everyone about it. Yeah. Anyway,
Sweet.
yeah, apologies for all the rambling. I think it'd be good to answer a few questions, because, you know, we talk about the community and how important it is, and I think that people should have the opportunity to come up and ask us what we think about X, Y, and Z, and we'll give you the best answer we can. We don't want to be here all day because, you know, believe it or not, we have a project to run and finish, and art to deliver, and to get this out. You know, this doesn't stop. So we'll sort of take half an hour's worth of questions, and let everyone say what they'd like to say, and ask us what they need to ask, and we'll answer to the best of our ability. I just want to sort of end off
We'll
this
go
this
through like a
report
few
just by
questions,
saying
and if they're pretty
thank you.
BS, we'll just
You
get
know,
out.
thank you to the people who are
We'll see
here,
what
who are
happens.
listening, who care enough about the story to listen to what we have to say about the story. And the people who know us in real life, who've texted me this morning saying, you know, XYZ, hope everything's okay. You know, it can be sometimes a crazy trial by public opinion here, you know, with very little facts as to the inner workings of how things happen. And I just want everyone to know that we care about you, and I appreciate you all. Okay, cool. Let's start letting some people up. Thanks for listening. Cool.
Hi,
Hey, Irina.
I have
How you doing?
so much to say. At first, I love the team, know them IRL. Guys are awesome and have super good vibes. I came in the middle of the spaces, and I see in the comments, like under my tweet, a lot of people are also a little bit confused of what happened. So from my understanding is, at the beginning you had an artist for hire, right? Did you had an like written agreement with him? That's what I missed. Like, did you had something as a contract, like, oh, we hire you and then you do you?
No, and that was I guess a business mistake, lesson learned. Everything was moving so fast, and Will and I move off of vibes.
You just gotta move off the vibes,
That's where we
bro.
had a
We
passionate
don't need
vision,
contracts. We need
and we were
vibes.
working day and night as
That's
we
so
have been
good.
since the very start, on these Zoom calls with Denton. And things are flowing. You're up till 4 in the morning. You wake up a little later than normal. You're right back in it, and it was Toby's recommendation, and it was a great recommendation that we put this out to the world, and we did very quickly within a matter of days of meeting Denton. And as soon as that happened, Weather Report gained traction, as well did Denton, as we tried to include him in the proper Web3 way, and it backfired.
Right.
So will we have agreements for someone that we hire? For sure. Do we have emails stating publicly with everyone on the project's percentage and how we see it working out, and why? Do we call them all and discuss it? Do we have professional adult conversations about it? 100%. Did I
Mm-hmm.
have
Okay.
a written contract? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's all right. I feel like you have enough to prove that he was executing your vision, anyways. And I just wanted to say, as an artist myself, so I'm an artist, and you should like understand there is an NFT space. You can go like two paths. You can be completely independent and do your thing. This way, like all of your artwork belong completely to you. Everything is yours. You do whatever. But with this comes all of the responsibility, marketing, promoting, yada yada yada. So you do it yourself, and you can choose that. Or when you're approached by a project like this, like make sure for the future to be extremely transparent and to put everything in like agreement to understand what you're
Right.
giving to people and what they're giving back to you, so those
Exactly.
kind of situations would not be like on the surface in the future. Also, it is very very normal for like everyone who is listening and don't know, like it's very normal to hire artists like that and to pay them and to artwork belong to you.
Right.
This is
Easily.
it, so they don't own anything to this person.
Right.
And
yeah,
that's exact, and that's it, and that's unfortunate, right? And that's exactly why we offered him percent instead of just a flat fee.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah, that's
understandable
like
because
very very hard subject to discuss because like so
right.
many artists at the same time taken advantage of, right? And it's especially in NFT space, I understand why the huge like backlash is coming in this type of situations, because so for such a long time artists just being used and abused and like people are just taking advantage of.
Right. Yep.
But then at the same
Yep. Yep.
time, like if you are joining the team that does so much work for you, like why would you say that it's all belong to you, kind of?
Yeah.
And not only that, our vision is to have a department of artists. Like it's not just one art. It's not just one artist at Nike busting out everything. You know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to create a globally recognizable brand,
Yeah.
and that's gonna take manpower.
100%.
and
Exactly.
thank you so much for your words, Arena. Like especially coming from extremely talented artists like yourself, it means a lot to hear it from your point of view. I do want to say, like mistakes were made here initially where there were handshake agreements, and talks on Zoom, and there's a wider like lesson to be learned to all of us, especially the three founders up on stage here, about getting things in writing and and
Right.
and
Yep.
and
Yep.
recording Zoom calls with artists. I think it's very easy to just get in this collaboration space where everyone's firing off ideas, and
Right.
things are growing, and it's beautiful, and you've got the right people in the right space, and it's just popping off, and it's like, yeah, we want to do this and this and this. But at the end of the day, we should have got this stuff in writing. He initially agreed to the percentage points we did, and the royalties in perpetuity that he was going to be paid for his artwork. And that wasn't in writing, and this
Yeah.
is why we're here now.
That's unfortunate.
And yeah,
And mind you that
Yeah,
everyone
that's really
sees
all we
this
need to
artwork.
know. That's it. That's it. That's it, guys. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, the one artist that popped up in there in that space, I mean, that's pretty much how I was kind of feeling too. I mean, it's definitely easy to just try and find an artist, collaborate with them with the handshake agreement, and just run with it. Unfortunately, that's what they did. But I mean, with them clearing this stuff up now, it's like it's not gonna do anything. Like, weather report's still gonna be as big as what they were whenever that post was. So I'm not even gonna go and try and read that because I mean they've cleared up everything. So just wanted to get this out. Thought it was quite interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. You guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.